Hey beautiful people of the internet, my name is Ryan and welcome to a very special series on the channel. This is Hogwarts for the Holidays, a Harry Potter themed series of 7 videos, maybe an 8th if I decide to read any of the other Harry Potter universe books. But this is a series about reading Harry Potter, or rereading Harry Potter, specifically around the holidays in the month of December in order to feel like you're coming home. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a second. But first, the format for this series is going to be pretty simple. I'm going to talk about my five very specific favorites from the book that I'm talking about that day, which today is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone, depending on which version you read. I'm going to talk about 5 specific favorites from that book and 1 overall reaction. I've read these books probably 10 times each. Specifically the first one's a little bit more than that because I'd reread them as the new book was coming out back when I was a kid. But I've read these books like 10 times. I know a lot of times I'll get to a specific scene and I know exactly what's coming next. I know the words that are going to be used. But every time I reread the books, I have another layered reaction to the Harry Potter universe and to the world of these books. So what these videos are going to do is kind of chronicle my rereading of the books this holiday season. If you want to read along, I totally recommend that you do. Before we go any further, I should say one thing though. These videos will definitely contain spoilers. I'm not going to try and talk about these books, which have been out for quite a while now, without spoiling them, because I think to do justice to a book after you've read it 10 times, I'm going to have to go kind of into the depths of what happened. So these are going to contain spoilers. All right, everybody take a breath. Let's do this. So my 5 favorites that I'm going to go through for every single book. The first one is my favorite spell. In Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, my favorite spell. There are a couple here that I really like, but my favorite, absolute favorite one is Petrificus Totalis, which Hermione, of course, uses on Neville as he is trying to stand up to his friends and keep them from getting their house, Gryffindor, in trouble. And it's a really heart-wrenching moment in the book. It's not my favorite moment. We'll get to that in just a second. But it is a really heart-wrenching moment in the book. And to top, like the cherry on top of the whipped cream that is that moment, is this new spell that Hermione pulls out of nowhere, which is Petrificus Totalis, the spell that binds your entire body into a straight, rigid board. I love that spell. I may or may not, as a kid, have made a wand out of a rolled piece of paper, and I would practice my spells around the living room. So that is my favorite spell. Number 2, my favorite character. My favorite character in the first book, the character that I believe embodies the spirit of the Sorcerer's Stone, is Hagrid. He has such a large role in this book. He's the person who comes up, you're a wizard, Harry. He's the person who reveals to Harry that he's a wizard. He's the person, he's like this source of comfort at school when Harry gets to Hogwarts. I think that Hagrid's qualities, this kind of endearing, earnest, like endearingly simple, honestly, earnest, good meaning character, principled but good meaning. I think that is the personality of this first book. You can't get too dark yet. We're all so young at this point. You can't get too dark. It's our introduction to the world, and Hagrid kind of serves as the caretaker of our transition into this world. And so I think Hagrid is my favorite character for this book specifically. Number 3, my favorite moment in the entire book. This is a little tough, but I have one that has stuck with me every single time I've read this book as something very true to how I've felt in certain parts of my life. And that is the moment that Harry first kicks off the ground on a broomstick. It's a wonderful feeling, I think, and to feel like you found your specific niche in the world. To have found like he says finally there's something that he knows that he's good at. He's at Hogwarts where he doesn't know that he's going to be a good wizard. There's so many expectations of him. But finally, when he kicks off the ground on a broomstick, it just comes naturally to him. And he realizes, he sees down the tunnel of the future and knows this is going to be something I'm good at and a place where I can feel comfortable in my own skin for a long time to come. So that's my favorite moment. Number 4, my favorite Dumbledore quote from this book. So in each of these books, we're going to go through and name these 5 favorites. One of those is my favorite Dumbledore quote, because there's a good one in every single book. I think it's going to be pretty obvious, but in this book, when Harry runs into the Mirror of Erist and sees his parents there and sees his family, Dumbledore, of course, has that lovely quote, "It does not do to dwell in dreams and forget to live. Remember that." And I think that's really beautiful. I think that the purpose of that quote in this book is to kind of bring Harry back to, he's discovered this magical world. It's to kind of bring him back down, bring him back down to the ground and make him realize, Harry, you're not just experiencing this world, you're living in it, you're a part of it. You cause action to happen in this world. Live in this moment. Don't just kind of dwell in this dreamy world. Plus, it's just beautiful. And my final favorite in this book, in every one of these books, other than potentially the last one, I am going to say my favorite bit of foreshadowing for the entire series that happens in this one book. In the first one, it's a little bit tough. There are a couple ones that came to mind, but my favorite bit of foreshadowing that happens in this book is a line that Harry, I'm going to have to read it to you. I've got it prepared over here. A line having to do with Professor Severus Snape. Could Snape possibly know they'd found out about the Sorcerer's Stone? Harry didn't see how he could, yet he sometimes had the horrible feeling that Snape could read minds. That, of course, is a bit of foreshadowing for Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, the 5th book, in which one of the major plot points is this legilimency, which I never pronounced correctly, or occlumen's thread, where Harry and Voldemort are kind of sharing this like mind thread, and Harry's own mind becomes a place that is not exactly safe to be in. And I love, it happens twice in this book actually, that Harry thinks, maybe Snape can read my mind. He's so not wrong. So those are my 5 favorites. I want to hear what your 5 favorites are before I get to my reaction about the book. So yeah, you've got your favorite spell, you've got your favorite character, your favorite moment, your favorite Dumbledore quote, and your favorite bit of foreshadowing. Let me know in the comments below if yours are any different than mine. I had a great conversation with my girlfriend about what her 5 would be, and I learned a lot from it and just had a good time reflecting on it. So let me know down in the comments. Now that that's done, my one kind of big takeaway from reading The Sorcerer's Stone this time, I'm about 26 years old. It's been probably 14 years since I first read this book, 13 years since I first read this book. The big thing that struck me this time, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, is this feeling that Harry goes through when he discovers Hogwarts and discovers that he's a wizard and there's a world of people like him. This feeling specifically about Hogwarts, where he feels like he's coming home. And that's the reason I'm calling this whole series Hogwarts for the Holidays instead of Home for the Holidays. Hogwarts, for me, was a kind of home that I went to when these books started being published. Every new book I knew was going to be a little bit of an expansion of this home that I could go to. Hogwarts immediately felt like a place I was safe, a place I belonged, a place where family was. I don't know how many people I've met who the one thing we share in common is a love of Harry Potter, and how much that enabled us to kind of see each other and talk to each other. So that's my big takeaway for this book, is that in this book, J.K. Rowling opened the door to this home that we were going to spend a lot of time in for the next years. In fact, I'm still spending time in that home. The new Harry Potter book just came out, or Harry Potter movie just came out, the second Fantastic Beasts movie, and I saw it and immediately felt like I was home again. Hogwarts is home. So thanks for watching this video. I will be back with another one on the second book here very soon. But in the meantime, I want to hear, what are your takeaways from the book, and what are your 5 favorites? All right, I will see you guys soon. If you want to, read some Harry Potter with me this holidays. I don't think it's ever made a holiday worse to read some Harry Potter. So I will see you guys in another video here very soon. Best wishes.